In this video, I am asking the question, how can we be the heel that crushes the head of Satan? And as we know from the Bible and from the church, that Mary is supposed to crush Satan with her heel. And a couple of hundred years before Fatima, St. Louis de Montfort, when he was writing True Devotion to Mary, talked about how in the latter times the people that would have to be the great saints and martyrs would be raised up in Mary by her help. And so I'm just going to read this one sentence that will tell you why I am even doing this video. So there's actually two things that inspired this. This is one of them. But the power of Mary over all the devils will especially shine forth in the latter times, when Satan will lay his snares against her heel, that is to say, her humble slaves and her poor children, whom she will raise up to make war against him. So, presuming that we may or may not be in the latter times, based upon Fatima, we have had Mary give us specific instructions. And the other thing that has inspired this is that in my attempt to follow those instructions this past Saturday, I did the first Saturday devotion, which I'll link below my last video, which tells a little bit about that. The graces that I experienced from that were so profound and amazing to me. It adjusted my view so profoundly that I can't even really explain it, but it made me really believe that, wow, Mary's doing something here, and it's extremely powerful. And I'll just tell you basically what it had to do with is that when you're making reparation for blasphemies against Mary, what it did for me is it really softened my heart towards what that is like for Mary not only to be offended by that, but also for her son to be offended by that. And how through this devotion we connect with them and we comfort them. We show them that, we do love them. We do believe all the truths. We are supporting them in that. I don't know. It's really hard to explain what that does with your heart when you see that human aspect of Jesus loving his mother and us joining in and comforting her in those offenses. And anyway, so that was part of the inspiration for me wanting to talk about this. So actually, that was the slam dunk that really brought it home about us being potentially the heel if we are listening to Mary when she says what she says in all of her apparitions, which, as we know, she is constantly telling us, pray the rosary, pray for peace, pray for Russia, pray for conversions, pray for reparations. And a little bit more about what de Montfort says about the heel being the humble slaves and her poor children. They will give themselves to Mary, body and soul, without reserve, that they may thus belong entirely to Jesus Christ. So think of St. John Paul II, totus tuus, that means all belongs to you, or something like that, to Mary, so that he can be closer to Jesus, so that he can more perfectly love Jesus. And they shall be the ministers of the Lord, who, like a burning fire, shall kindle the fire of divine love everywhere. So when you don't know what to do, just love. That's the bottom line of all of it. He goes on to talk about how we will be well purified by the fire of great tribulation. We shall carry the gold of love. It says, who shall carry the gold of love in their heart, the incense of prayer in their spirit, and the myrrh of mortification in their body. They shall sleep without gold or silver, and what is more, without care, so completely trusting in God, and with the pure intention of the glory of God and the salvation of souls. So that's all we're needing to think about. Nor shall they leave behind them in the places where they have preached anything but the gold of charity, which is the fulfillment of the whole law. In a word, we know that they shall be true disciples of Jesus Christ, walking in the footsteps of his poverty, humility, contempt of the world, charity, teaching the narrow way of God in pure truth, according to the holy gospel, and not according to the maxims of the world, troubling themselves about nothing. So once again, troubling ourselves about nothing. And this is kind of like what I really wanted to, I felt called to focusing more this year on the rest of being completely dependent on God and realizing that that's where our power is, our humble trust in God. We talk about Mary crushing the head of Satan, and St. Louis de Montfort is saying that we are the heel of Mary, that is to crush the head of Satan. And Mary, when she's coming and telling us what to do, is giving us very specific, simple instructions. We're not out there, necessarily, well, some people are going to be called to do things that are more risky and all that kind of stuff, but there's huge power in all of this other stuff that she asks us in Fatima. And again, I will link that video below, which was about what she asks us in Fatima. And that's where that devotion is, where I really felt really close to a greater knowledge of God in the humanity of Jesus through making reparation for offenses against his mother and therefore against him. So anyway, and as I said, St. Louis de Montfort, says that her heel is her humble slaves and her poor children. So anyway, I hope you will have a restful day in the Lord, knowing that he's giving us specific instructions through his mother, and we just need to follow him. So have a great day.